Hi, this is Ryan with Front End Audio, and today I want to talk to you about the ART Pro MPA 2. It's a dual channel tube mic pre. It's actually a very great valued unit that has a ton of features, and if we look over the front panel here, we can actually see what this thing has to offer. Looking at the face of the unit, you can tell it's a 2-rack space unit, so it will need a little extra room if taken consideration when you're looking into this. You have your power switch right here for cutting on and off the unit. You have your gain stage here for your mic level and instrument level input. And it's not detented, but it does have a clicking feel to it. So you can make reference, a mental reference, or actually just write it down, how many clicks up and down you were when you were setting up. It's a nice recall feature. Here you have your impedance, which you can adjust from a lower impedance to a higher impedance. And of course, the more you crank up the impedance, the more it tames the high end. So if you really need to work on maybe smoothing out the high end of a specific instrument or vocalist, that is a great feature. One thing to note is that this impedance does not affect the instrument input at all. Right here you have your master level output, and all of these of course have that clicking feel for great recall. And then right here you have your low cut filter that you can get some unnecessary rumble or kind of tame that low end depending if the instrument needs it or not. And it gives you a 7.5 hertz to 200 hertz frequency response of where you can start that roll off. Right next to that you have your high Z instrument input, which is great for acoustic guitars, running direct guitars, or even a bass guitar. On this side right here you have your VU meter for each individual channel, and you have a trim here so you can run your test tones through it and calibrate your VU meter for more accuracy. Below the VU meter you have your 20 dB gain. What this does is it adds an additional 20 dB of gain to the gain stage of the mic pre. So I kind of look at it as it comes with a 20 dB pad already engaged. So when you're, say, doing drum overheads, you don't need to worry about that. You got plenty of gain here. But if you need a little extra gain, say on an acoustic guitar or maybe a vocalist, you can engage an extra 20 dB that will give you that extra volume boost that you would need to get a real good take. Next to that you have your phantom power, so when engaged of course you can power any condenser microphone. Next to that you have your high voltage plate, and what this does is it boosts the voltage going to the tubes to get a little extra saturation going. It does take about 15-20 seconds for it to ramp up or cool down, so you want to make sure that if you're engaging this for adding a little extra body to, say, an acoustic guitar or something like that, you give it time to warm up, and when disengaged, give it time to cool down. Next to that you have your phase invert, which is pretty self-explanatory if you need to invert the phase of a microphone. Next to that you have your mid side. Now what this does is it aligns the output of the unit so that you can actually do mid-side stereo recording. So if you have, say, you're doing drum overheads or an acoustic guitar, and you have your main mic pointing down in a omni or cardioid, and then you have your 90-degree off-center microphone in figure of 8, you engage that, and it will make sure that the output of this is aligned correctly to get you that appropriate mid-side function. Right above this button you have your LED meters segmented, and it has your green for good, your yellow for getting a little hot, and your red for clipping. This is a great visual kind of representation of your meters, so if you're a little ways away from the unit and you can't quite make out the VU meters, you have your LED meters for reference. On channel 2 of the unit you'll notice the controls are virtually the same. The only difference here is your stereo button. What this does is when engaged, if you're recording a stereo guitar or maybe drum overheads or something like that you would want a stereo signal on, once engaged, the output control of channel 1 then controls the output of channel 2, so you don't have to worry about any adjustments here. Looking at the back of the unit, it's a very simplistic setup. You have your XLR input, your XLR output, and a 1/4 inch output. Best thing about this, all balanced, even the 1/4 inch output. Next to that, you have a +4, -10 I/O level control. This is really good, so if you have, a home studio setup and most of your products are going to be running at -10, you can engage it to be compatible. Or if you're in a project studio and most of your stuff is professional, which is going to be running at +4, now it's compatible. And of course, right here you have your IEC power supply cable hook up with your fuse right here that will of course blow first to protect your unit from getting fried if you have a spike or anything like that. These units are also configurable for European voltage, so international customers are going to be taken care of. Overall, what I have found this to be very useful on is just a variety of things. It's a great versatile pre. I primarily like to use it on drum overheads. Get a nice pair of condenser microphones, spaced pair or mid-side, and it just does a great job of adding a little bit of tube body to that signal to kind of thicken up the overall sound of the drum set, but it's a very clean signal at the same time. I also find it very useful when recording stereo acoustic guitars. It's always a big issue, getting that right acoustic sound, so whether you're doing the mid-side or a spaced pair or however you're going to be doing your setup, you got a great solution here and it won't break the bank. The last thing that I really, really love this on is this direct input. I love running a bass guitar through this. I don't do bass amps. I always do my bass direct in the studio. That right there is a great feature because it gives me a little bit of thickness with that tube, especially engaging the high voltage plate. The other thing that I really like about it is if I want to get a little edge, I can crank up the input but leave the output down and start to break up and get a little bit of distortion out of that tube and really kind of just add a little extra dimension to the and a little extra dirt to the signal. So it's a great value in that fact, highly versatile, will not break the bank. So home studio guys, definitely got to scoop this up. Would find a great home and be very useful in a project studio. All in all, the whole MPA line, the whole tube line from Art is just a great value for its price range. It's an extremely hard unit to beat. So I highly recommend you give this a look. And for more information on the Art Pro MPA2 and for all your pro audio needs, check us out on the web at www.frontendaudio.com. Thank you.